He'll come soon.
We're live.
Oh, wait. Goodness.
We are live, sans guest.
Boom. We were in a holding pattern. I've not heard. Who is the guest possibly going to be? I'm going to kick the hat up like I've been throwing hay bales all day.
There he comes. He's coming. Okay, he's coming in now. It's good timing.
Look at that.
I hope he's got his clothes on. He's got his clothes. We're live already.
We're already live. If you'd come on naked, it was going to show.
It would have been twice as interesting, I'm sure.
Yes, 5 times. They would have been like, woo, this is a good show already.
That's how Scotch It does things. We do things naked.
That's right.
No, I was telling Bart, I said, you're usually out of town on the weekends. You get back Sunday night, and you was running a little bit late, but we went ahead. We just went live probably 10 seconds before you came on. So are you set up? Are you ready?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Now you have
do the intro.
Let's do the intro. Yes, joining us, Scotch and Sniff. For those that don't know, doing YouTube reviews as well. Newer to that, bigger on Instagram.
Yep.
Yeah,
sounds about right.
Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Sniff of Scotch and Sniff. It used to be a 2-person duo, but my brother, ended up quitting. After we got back from a trip in Scotland, but usually in Baltimore on the weekends.
We're going to have to dive into that. The brother after coming back from Scotland bailed.
Nah, I don't know. I pretty much wrote everything about it on Instagram. So.
Oh, okay. I see. I'm new. I don't do the Instagram. Scott's on the Instagram.
How do you not do the Instagrams?
I'm like, look at the cowboy hat. Says it all.
We got Twitter, we got Instagram, we got Facebook, we got Patreon. Mm-hmm. I handle Twitter and Instagram. Bart handles Patreon and Facebook.
I handle Patreon better than moderately well, and I handle Facebook like a train wreck. That's what's going on.
I handle Twitter.
There you go. It's a train wreck with me. Basically, I love following up on the direct messages but yeah, even posting. I kind of burned myself out. I over posted and now I'm under posting. So that's what I'm doing. That's it. So now we're down to just the Sniff.
What do you want us to, what do you go by? What do you want us to call you?
I still go by Scotch and Sniff, but I just have people call me just Sniff or Wally as of late. So it depends on what people want to call me.
Wally or Sniff. Okay.
Sniff.
Wally Sniff.
I love that. Wally Sniff.
Smashing the names together.
Yes. Smash up.
We have Macallan edition number 2 and Macallan edition number 3. And Bart, what are we going to do?
We're going to test it.
Now, do you have edition number 1 as well?
Oh,
I do, in fact.
Wow. Did that come in a box that was colored like fall?
Yep.
Yes, it's the brown box.
Yeah, the brown box. Wow, it's like
brown, orange, yellow.
Yeah, and it was never available in Kansas. They did not bring edition 1 to Kansas.
Come on, Macallan. Send us a dusty bottle.
It was just finished in like 8 types of oak casks. It was just a huge mix. On the box they had kind of like they do with the number 3 that you've got listed there and the number 2. Like they listed out all 8 types of casks and what types of sherry oak and everything that was going on.
Yeah.
Now we've got a couple of fans out south and east, South Carolina area that say it's still readily available in that area. Yeah.
Number 1.
Here.
Yeah.
Wow.
And where are you at?
I'm just outside of DC.
How much is it going for in DC?
105. Same thing. I mean, it's all in the stores. You go to some stores that are willing to do MSRP, and then you go to a few stores that are out of their minds.
Sure. Yeah. No, that's cool. You need to get that. Bro.
So we don't have the 1. We do need to look at the 2 and the 3. What do you want to start with? You want to start with the 2? You want to go side by side with them right away? What do you think?
I started thinking after I got home, I just grabbed a bunch of different Macallans since the 3 is like a newer release. There are some other newer releases that are coming from them that have come out, like the 12 double cast this year, and then of course they're re-releasing a cast strength this year also.
Nice. Yeah, now we're waiting for that one. And the edition 3 actually showed up here early. We were one of the first to get our hands on it. I think that our distributor pushed it out a little bit early.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it seemed like everybody on Instagram got some of that early.
Yeah.
Everybody but me.
Now, we'll talk about it later. You were at a nice Macallan tasting in, was it New York?
It was in DC.
In DC.
Yeah. The Michter's wasn't in New York City, but yeah. Macallan set up a really, really nice tasting, the Masters tasting, 1824 Masters tasting down in DC, Casa Luca. So
Cool.
Super nice posh restaurant, one of those kind of things, you know, Michelin rated and all that.
Nice.
Well, besides the only other Macallan we have is the 12-year-old.
The 12 is solid. I tell people all the time, like, one not to sleep on.
Yeah.
Because the next one up, I mean, you're going to buy the 18 is the next one to really get something awesome from Macallan, and the price difference is, I don't know, it's not always worth it. Yeah, it's a dagger.
It's the highest priced 18-year-old you'll find, and I don't know why. I mean, it's delicious. I've had it. It is good. I wish it was. It's $260, $280.
Yeah. Yep.
Man, if that was in the price range of most of the other 18-year-olds, anywhere from 130 to 180, I'd probably have a ball around most of the time.
It used to be, that's the thing. And, you know, people were buying it up then, and it was a smart decision. I mean, the chocolate notes in it are just ridiculous, but it's like all supply and demand.
Yeah. What are you breaking down? You're breaking down.
I'm just grabbing it.
You're getting a little bit of.
Let's start with the number 2.
Do it.
And I stopped in a liquor store today that I hadn't been in for a long time, and they had about 10 bottles of that sitting on the shelf. Yeah. So I'll be watching it and waiting for him to put it on clearance, or hit up the manager someday and say, hey, that's quite a bit to be sitting on your shelf.
Yeah. You need a hand.
Hey, a quick shout out too. So The Angel's Portion, Volume 3, just came out by Reverend Christopher Toma. He's been a guest on our show in the past.
Missouri
as well as Don Sutcliffe with the exceptional series of scotches.
Big Don.
And Don Sutcliffe wrote the foreword for Reverend Toma in this.
Give us a little shout out.
It's a great read if you haven't read any of the Angel's Portion books, Volume 1, 2, and 3. They're all available.
God, that smells good.
Pick one up.
Right. He tells tales. He tells little stories. Says every whiskey has its tale, and he teases it out.
That's a good way to look at it.
Oh yeah. But no. So what do you have? What do you have the number? What do you have poured in yours? Sniff?
So actually, I have the number 3 and the 17 Fine Oak poured side by side, just because I noticed so many similarities between the Fine Oak series and the number 3. I was actually talking to a Single Malt Alliance and a couple other people on Instagram about that. But the number 2 versus the number 1, I've reviewed like extensively on the Scotch and Sniff website, scotchandsniff.com. So you can find, sorry, I've been singing all weekend, and that's why my voice is like shot. But
we might need pause on that. That's impressive right there. Singing all weekend in the shower. I mean, what are we talking?
No, I sing for a couple of churches, but
of course, see, that's good. That's wonderful.
It's weird because there was a post on Instagram a couple, 2 or 3 weeks ago. I played at a songwriter showcase that they have up in Northern Maryland that a buddy of mine runs, and every once in a while I go in there and start doing some singing. But yeah, no, the edition number 1 and the edition number 2, like I've extensively, like that's one of the number 1 blog posts that I have on scotchandsniff.com. It's just a comparison of Scotch versus Scotch of the 2, and just the flavors, just everything written out. So you guys are sipping the number 2. This one's the one I always considered. It's like ginger snaps with like vanilla drizzle, hands down.
Which was, I'm just going to go right to the cut to the point. Which one's your favorite of the 3?
So far, number 3. But really? It's because, so the number 3, I mean, if you like the Fine Oak series, the 10 is horrible. I don't know why Macallan pushes it at all. The 12, the 12 is okay. I ordered it from the UK, and it's going to get released here soon, but it's a pass in my book. It's like, it's better than the 10, but it's not the 15. The 15 was the first Fine Oak I ever had. And it just has such a good set of flavors to it. And it really emphasizes the wood, but you really have to like the oak. And then the 17 was like a little bit sweeter version of that. And it was, I mean, a lot of people love the 17 because of that. But to me, the number 3 edition is like the Fine Oak series, but it took all of the harsh wood notes that you get and it rounded them out. And it just put this sweetness on them that makes it so palatable.
Wow. Yeah, it sounds delicious.
Well, I've loved both of them, the number 2 and the number 3. I preferred the number 2 just because there's a little bit more sherry in there. You know, most of the sherry was gone with the 3, but that's what Macallan admitted they were wanting to do, was to get away from their traditional caskings and do something different.
Good.
And it's still delicious. It's still a great Scotch. Both of them, the 2 and the 3. And we do need to get a bottle of the 1.
Yeah.
They're all solid. It's just a matter of like what you're in the mood for. I always say that with whiskey. Yeah. I mean, there are very few bad whiskeys. Most of them, it really is just like, do I want sherry tonight? Do I want dry oakiness tonight? Do I want dried fruit tonight? Like, what am I looking for?
Do I want to drink an ashtray tonight.
No, God.
Oh, what? We need to sit
do
and talk.
I want to eat asphalt and squid ink? And,
you know that
and rubber bands.
That sentence ended better than I thought it was going for a second.
Oh, that is pure garbage.
Oh,
it's like,
you know what?
I mean, is that Lafroig on your shelf back there?
Yeah, we got some.
Oh, beautiful, the Lord! You know what the elixir for the throat is, Lafroig?
Oh, I thought that was the solution for when you hate yourself completely, and you're looking for a way to ingest that hate. I mean, it's right there. The 10 cast strength, easy.
Well, I got to tell you, Bart has been a Pete head almost from the start.
Well, almost. You did it to me with Compass Box. Mm-hmm. Yeah, with the Pete Monster.
I'm a sherry head. I love sherry.
Yeah, I'm a space cider myself.
And it took me a while, but I have warmed up to the Pete's, and I love them. I mean, these are mine back here, and those are the ones that I've bought.
That is true.
I mean, I have those bottles too, but it doesn't mean I like them.
Right. Well, and I still say, though, 4 out of 5 times I'll go to a sherried Scotch or something else, and then a Pete every once in a while.
When he feels manly.
When it's not a manly, it's
Yeah, I'm just
so. Here's my beef with Pete. Like, if I wanted to be punched in the face, right? I want to be punched in the face on my own terms. So for me, I want somebody, if somebody's going to punch me in the face, I want it to be the kind of punch that I'm expecting, not like a sucker punch from behind that throws me on the ground and I feel like I'm dying. I want something where I see it coming, I know what's going on, and I'm ready for it. And the only reason, like, that's why I like Brook Laddie, like the classic Laddie, and even they're heavily peated, which isn't all that peated. They have such a good balance between the sweet, the sherries, and the peat. So you don't have to be eating ashes and creosote from a campfire. You can just enjoy sitting near a campfire.
So you're saying you're an Octomore fan.
No. Yes, because I want to jump in the campfire and self-immolate.
Yeah, you want the ppm so far off the chart, your taste buds have been sucker punched and you can no longer taste it.
Exactly. I want to ruin my palate.
Right. Now here's what the peat does for me. First of all, the very first tasting that I set up that we went to, they had an Ardbeg 10, just the standard Ardbeg 10 there, and not a fan at all. It was too much. I got all that, all the kind of antiseptic, the iodine.
Iodine, yeah, easy.
And yeah, it was too much. And I was like, whoa, I dug the Talisker, was about as smoky as I was going. Yep. Yeah, the Talisker 10. Now, fast forward about a year as we're doing the show, and Scott had called and said, hey, you got to come over and try this Compass Box. And we were still really new at the time.
I know, it was before we started.
Was it before we were filming? Okay, maybe.
Because remember, the first 6 out of 10, 6 out of 15 reviews we did were Compass Box.
Okay.
And
oh wow,
it's because we were saying we're the fanboys, right?
Yeah.
And I was thinking, come on, what is this going to be here? And I was judging it by its paleness and everything else, and I had it, and the smoothness of the Peat Monster as the Isla blend really, I mean, it opened the door. It kicked the door open. And
it probably kicked it open.
It kicked it open, shoved it open, and then split it in half. Yeah, that was it. And then I started searching for more and more peat, and that's what happened with me.
That's the saddest story I'll hear all day.
I feel you, though. I feel you. It's not for everybody.
Hey, for those that are just tuning in or have since we introduced it, we are taking a look at maybe a few Macallans tonight. We're going to start with right now Macallan edition number 2.
Did it already.
This one's at 48.2%. And was done with Macallan's whiskey maker or master whiskey, Bob Del Garno, and the Roca brothers
from Sella de la Roca.
So, are you? Oh, your Bart's done with the number 2, and he's pouring the number 3.
The number 2 will be 48.2%. The number 3 will be 48.3%. The number 1 is 48.1%. Like, it's one of those Easter eggs.
I never knew that. Yeah, that's a good Easter egg.
Wow, that is.
Now, how many are they doing? Do you know?
Talked to a couple of brand ambassadors. I don't know how many they're going to do. I just knew about the number 3 and then working with a perfumer, like at that the Macallan tasting at the Trump Tower. Actually, the Trump Tower in DC has a Macallan room, like Macallan solid marble table. It's gorgeous. It's a beautiful room. Yeah.
Wow.
That's where we got to try
It's on the list.
Yeah, it's a good place to do. I was actually talking to them about doing some Scotch and Sniff episodes from there, so you'll see it in the future.
Oh, nice. Good.
Very cool.
And I hope we didn't lose any watchers at the mention of Trump. We keep politics out of it. It was Trump Tower.
He's got a building.
Trump Tower.
We've got a building with Macallan stuff in it.
So the guy who is hosting the Trump Tower is like master taster. I forget the guy's name. I've got his business card, but he told us they're politically bisexual. They're like, they don't care, you know. I mean, and you can tell by the way the bar runs and the people there. It's not about politics. You know, this is whiskey time.
Yeah, whiskey and business, baby.
Absolutely.
The good business.
Yeah, whiskey business is everybody's business.
That's one thing we keep out is politics and religion.
Right.
That was 3 things Mom always said you don't talk about.
We need to throw something in controversial. Football.
Pete, how about not liking Pete?
The Broncos. Yeah, not liking Pete.
That is controversial.
That's heresy in the whiskey world right there, brother. We've set up a bipartisan committee on your hate of Pete.
I don't mind it. Everybody knows it. Like all of Instagram knows it. Again, it's not that I hate it completely. Just there are so many people who've done it better. There's so many balanced Petes out there that are enjoyable, you know, up to 10, 15 parts per million.
Wow. So you must be talking about the Lefroy 10 cast strength when you mentioned better.
You get to like 30 plus parts per million and you're asking for trouble.
See, I love it. I love it.
What do you love about it?
I'm going to go side by side with the 2 and the 3.
You know, well, I've told him the analogy I use, which I said so much that he mocks me openly all the time, is that when I have a really good peat, I feel it harkens to, I grew up in the mountains, Colorado. So a blizzard's coming through. I've got the fire roaring. I'm wrapped in a blanket and I feel safe, cozy, and comfortable. And that's what a good peat does for me. Yeah. And every once in a while I'll have it and I'll go, and he'll go blanket in front of a fire, like all mocking. I'm like, yeah, that's where I just was.
Yeah. See, the rest of us were sitting by the fire and our blanket caught fire. And we're trying to put it out, trying to keep the house from burning down. It's
the flue won't open proper. The smoke's pouring into the house.
Horrible.
And some of us don't even want to go near the fire. We just stay back.
Wow. Scott's out streaking in the blizzard, yelling, Sherry, where'd Sherry go? Come back, Sherry.
We're streaking to the quad.
Yeah, I'm wrapped around the fire with Pete. Ooh, speaking of bipartisanship. And then you're running around looking for Sherry.
See, one of those is just, never mind.
Sorry, I went off the rails there. I apologize. That happens on occasion.
Well, that's why we went live without you, Sniff. Was I knew Bart we'd have enough conversation to talk about till you joined us.
Oh yeah, we're just talking fireplaces and Pete, and I'm going. No, it's good though. I can tell your expertise. I mean, living on the East Coast, living in the DC area. I mean, if there's something I covet, it's that access you get from being in a Chicago, you know, in a DC, in a New York.
Yeah. I mean, New York's 3 hours north of here. Everything is, right. I mean, so close by car.
Exactly.
It is definitely convenient.
I don't know. This 3 is really warming up to me today.
Oh, I know. No, it's delicious. Now, with the 2 and the 3, like I pointed out, I feel there's a little bit more of the sherry sweetness that comes out in the number 2. The number 3 is delicious. It's vanilla and the cream and the wood. Mm-hmm.
But it's so much more fruit, though. It's lemon. It's limes. It's citrus.
Very much.
Bring us in with the number 1. What do you get on the number 1?
Oh, you're gonna love the number 1 because it's just 8. Imagine 8 different types of sherries. It's no different than what. Have you ever had the Dalmore King Alexander?
Oh yeah, it's up there,
right there.
Yeah, that like blend of so many sherry casks together, you're getting the same kind of business. It's just, yeah, it's delicious. That's to me, that's a lot better. I mean, if you're looking again for those notes.
I'm ripping through this. If it was a Lefroy, I'd have to sip slower.
Well, I'll point out.
Which could be good.
Well, you're probably ripping through it because they're mine.
And they're Scots. Pour more, bartender.
That's the best. Sharing.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there's nothing like free whiskey. I can tell you that. No, that's good. What are some comments rolling in? I mean, the thing started going crazy when we were in the peat debate.
Yeah, and I apologize. I haven't been. We got them a little bit we're gonna have to redo this. I don't like where we set the computer tonight. It's out of the way. I think we need to have it more over here in front. But I haven't been able to see the comments as much, so I haven't.
Bifocal.
There's a lot of people loving the Broncos today, so I had to comment on that.
Yeah, that's a must.
That's the only comment I pushed out so far.
Oh man, haven't even got to check the teams today.
It's been interesting.
Matter of fact, Sniff, you are in our fantasy football league. So, and I don't have. Who are you playing today?
Roethlisberger again with 45 points. You got to be kidding me. That's 2 weeks in a row. Last week was like 42 points.
Wow.
I would point out that the Denver Broncos held Ezekiel Elliott to 8 yards rushing.
Oh,
dang! This is a beastly week.
That's impressive.
All right.
Macallan, comments.
What is your?
Just read what you were doing.
You don't like the peat. What is your forte? Your genre of Scotch?
No, I am much more of a space fighter. Like, again, there are certain peats that I do like, and I do enjoy the balance. But I mean, you've really got to do a good job with it. Something like Wolf Burn, something like Lafroig did it with the triple cask. They have a triple wood, and that's the only one of the Lafroigs that I'll drink because it's such a good balance of sweet and then all that nasty smoke. But they do it in a way that like you're not getting inundated. You know, you don't feel like you need to get an O2 mask because you're dying in a fire because your house is burning down. But yeah, no, when it comes to sherry, like, I mean, come on. I'm most excited about this business happening this year.
Now, if we did review, there's a Glen Rothus. It's a single cask.
He's teasing you here, though.
It's a 14-year-old cask strength sherry bomb.
Kansas release.
Well, yeah, but I'm sure other states have their own state release of a single barrel.
Kansas
probably, it's ABC.
Now, I'll tell you.
I don't know, actually.
I was going to say, if it's ABC, they probably did. Virginia does that.
Really?
The distributor, though, he said it's as close as that Macallan cask strength as you can get.
I mean, there's some of the. Have you guys tried Cavalan?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we have the Vino Brique.
Yeah, I mean, that's a 4-year-old. I mean, sherry destroyer. That thing's absolutely incredible. You guys like rum? I know that sounds weird.
No. We've had some rum. Rum usually, we've got some right over here we got to try because rum's usually way too sweet for me.
Yeah.
So there are some sherry cask finished rums, though, that have been just like Dos Madeiras, the 2 woods, the 5+5, absolutely baller. And like Navazo Palazzi, I posted recently on Instagram, another one. It's just, I mean, absolutely amazing because it's finished in sherry cask and they do it for like 5 years. And it just takes on, you're getting a little bit of the sweet kind of rum, but you're getting all of that sherry. It's so good.
Huh.
We had a lot of people telling us we needed to start doing rums as well. And I was in our liquor store one day and they let me try a sample of the Four Square distillery and it gets washed out by my North Korean light bulb.
He's got a North Korean light bulb. This baby shines.
But it's the,
I was born in South Korea. Don't worry.
There you go.
That's where this one's from because we don't import from North Korea.
No. Well, first of all, you wouldn't get the bottle. It'd come in a tube.
Yeah.
And second of all, they just drink Hennessy up there.
Yeah, there you go.
Four Square Rum Distillery, the port cask finish, I picked up because it does. I mean, it has a great port cask influence as well, and it doesn't have that molasses really sweet finish. Yeah,
you haven't sent that on.
And then the Criterion from them we have as well.
What city were you born in South Korea?
Daegu.
Ah, you're kidding. I was in Daegu for 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Camp Walker.
Army?
Yeah.
Oh, Camp Walker. I remember going back when I was like 9-ish.
Yeah, that's a mountainous region.
Yep.
Cool.
That's good stuff.
Very cool.
Drinking Caveman is asking you about the Ball Blair 90.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you want to talk about sherry bombs? Ooh. I mean, but that's it's sherry, it's fruit, it's so good.
Huh.
That's one I just did a review of that, and maybe the Anik 12, maybe the Glendronach 12. I can't remember which one it was with the Ball Blair 1990. I mean, for the $175 I paid for it, shipped from New Jersey, worth it.
Really?
Every day. Yep.
Wow.
And I remember going to the distillery, and the distillery was awesome. And, I got samples to bring home, and I definitely tried it. And I remember thinking, like, man, this is the one I need to order. But getting a whole bottle of it and really getting to sip it, like, it's so good.
Now, part of that makes me want to ask, so when did you go to Scotland?
May.
Okay, and where all did you travel? I'm assuming Isla was not in the trip.
No, we did go to, what's the most northern, Old Pulteney, which is up there in Wick. It was like 700 miles in 4 days where the driving is crazy. But there, Balbelair, did go to Macallan, Glenfiddich, some of the regular ones, some of the smaller ones like Knockdhu, which was totally amazing and worth it if you get a chance to go there. Because, I mean, it's just 3 dudes. They're running an entire distillery. You know, the guy walks out like smoking a cigarette. Like, hey, what's up, guys? Like, it's good stuff.
Huh. Awesome.
It was so much fun.
You open that? No.
Yeah. Yep. Those are both open if you want to try those. I'm still on my Macallan number 2 and number 3.
They're solid.
Okay, so walk us back. Get us into how you got into whiskey. Even just drinking whiskey reviews, YouTube, Instagram.
So I actually didn't drink anything until I turned about 25. And then I started with port wines. I know that sounds weird, but I don't know. Port wines just got me. Like, I started reading wine books and watching wine videos and things like that. A couple of friends bought me some tasting kits and whatnot. So I fell in love with port wine and the sweetness of it, which just leads right to sherry, which is more alcohol. I mean, sherry ends at about 18%. Port starts there. So you've got these delicious, amazing ports. And that I ended up moving to California, taking a job out there working with some Marines. And every week I was like, I'll buy some whiskey just to try it. You know, it was just a project. It was just to do something different. And so, you know, I told myself I'd drink it neat, and then I drink it with a little water. And if I didn't like it either of those days, I would just dump the rest of the bottle and chuck it. So there were, I mean, tons of empty bottles that I just like threw in recycling. But every once in a while I'd find like a couple of different whiskeys that I actually liked. And it's really weird because, you know, when you have a completely fresh palate to whiskey and you don't know what's out there and you're just trying like the swill that's in the local store. I mean, I fell on Canadian Mist comes in a plastic bottle and it's solid. It really is. Like, even if you try it now, I was really surprised. And then Kessler, who's Canadian Mist. It's like, it's not that great now. I mean, I have 250 plus bottles of, you know, high-end whiskey. It changes things. Your palate completely changes. But for a beginner whiskey, something that you're going to try if you don't have like Jack Daniel's single barrel, Canadian Mist, Kessler, those 2 brands were like super smooth. They were so memorable in my mind. So moved back to Maryland after living in California for a little over a year. And then I didn't drink any whiskey. And I shot a wedding and somebody paid me with a bottle of Macallan 15 Fine Oak. And then it was downhill from there. I don't know. I tried the Fine Oak. I was like, man, I need more of this in my life. Went on vacation to Mexico, duty free, bought like 4 or 5 bottles. And then that was my demise. I talked to my brother. I was like, hey, I want to do this thing. I was like, Scotch It is a cool name. And I was like, I'm going to buy 1 bottle every paycheck. And then like 1 bottle a paycheck turns into like, I'm just going to spend $100 a paycheck. And $100 a paycheck turns into, I'm just going to find 1 bottle that I like a paycheck, and price becomes less of an issue.
Right.
But yeah. So here we are.
Beautiful.
What did you start with first? A blog, Instagram?
It started with a blog. So started with the blog and Instagram at the same time. So initially the first like maybe 200 pictures on Instagram are all taken with iPhone because my brother does food photography and I do wedding photography. So we're like, you know what? We'll put the cameras down. We're not going to do cameras. We're just going to do iPhone, and we'll just make great iPhone pictures. So we did that in the beginning. A lot of people were like, wow, these are great pictures. And then my brother started shooting a little Fuji X100, which is like a little bridge camera. And I was like, if you're going to shoot with that, I'm just going to break out the wedding camera. So it escalated and escalated. Now, I mean, you can see the pictures I've been taking lately. But I've been taking all the pictures since May, so just been going nuts with it.
Cool.
Yep.
And wedding photography then keep you pretty busy?
Yeah, actually this year it was a little slower, and just 10 weddings this year. And I just saw my last one last week. So
they're a lot of work though, I've heard, for photographers.
A crap ton of work.
Yeah.
Yes. It's fun. The day is, being like half Korean and being a huge math nerd, the statistical anomaly of those people all being in one place at one time and how that can never happen again. It just appeals to me.
Beautiful.
So somehow we're on this tangent and we've gone from whiskey to weddings, but
I love it. That's what we do right here. I wouldn't be surprised.
They go hand in hand, really.
That's right.
Wedding, you have whiskey.
Yes.
If you drink whiskey, you meet someone, you get married.
Is that how it works?
Quite possibly. We've talked Tegu. That's been good. I didn't think that would come up. You mentioned you worked with Marines.
Yeah, I've worked with every branch but the Air Force.
There you go. Well,
Contract.
that's because that branch doesn't work. Oh,
The Chair Force.
yes. There you go. I went down to Pusan and I was like, you guys live like this?
Now you're going to cause controversy.
Yeah, this is controversial.
No, the Air Force guys will go, yeah, that's right. That's why you joined the Army. Our lieutenant colonel's flying to Harm's Way. I fueled their jet.
That's true.
Yeah, the Air Force guys will tell you. Yeah, the Air Force guys.
Officers.
Yeah, they're like, you're right. They don't even argue. They're like, yeah, that's correct.
That's funny.
So that is 100%. If Jesse Voisin's on the line, if he's watching, is he in the comments? We had a retired,
I haven't seen Jesse.
Retired F-15 and F-111 Nap of the Earth guy that watches. He'll be commenting like, "Hey now, hey." That's because he was one of those lieutenant colonels.
Well, I was going to pour a little Macallan 12, but I thought I've got plenty in front of me. And plus, before we went live, we poured some of our Scotch Malt Whiskey Society romantic inspiration.
Romantic.
I don't think I need
inspiration
more.
Single Malt Alliance sent me some of that. I still haven't cracked it yet. I have 65 samples to get through.
Well,
that's like us, yeah.
I just got this yesterday. I ordered it. The Glencairn Copita.
Wow.
And, Single Malt Alliance is selling these. That's his. Well,
$7 of each of those is going to some charity, right?
That's right. He works with Sip Dark. A couple of other whiskey reviewers are working with Sip Dark as well now.
Yes.
The glass, I think, is $22 for every one he sells. He's donating 7, and it's going to a family that he's supporting. There's more details on his blog if you go to Single Malt Alliance on Instagram.
I'll be selling glasses on Sip Dark soon too.
Wow. Sip Dark's getting huge.
That's the way to go.
Yeah, we knew Sip Dark when we bought this little setup.
That was the dilution control.
Yeah,
they call
it dilution control.
It's just convenient, because if you've ever bought like 100 Glencairns at once and you're trying to give them to people, just shipping logistics, it's a pain in the butt. It's easier just to hand it over to somebody else.
Well, we're on our second batch of glasses, and we've ordered 100 twice now.
Yeah,
well, we don't sell. It's not like mass quantities going out though. We sell one every once in a while, so it hasn't been that big of a pain. The coins are more.
Whiskey
hats.
Coins
you guys have.
We sell a lot of our coins.
Yeah, the whiskey hats.
Yeah, the whiskey hats.
That fits right on that Copita glass.
Yep, that's the same. Actually, that's a little bit smaller than the Glencairn, isn't it?
It's funny because they have like crystal toppers for Glencairns.
I better. Yeah, I know. They have the little ginger tops with the little lid thing on there that you can put on there.
We argue our coins you can carry in your pocket.
Throw it in your pocket.
They're impromptu. It's not a crystal lid that might break that's in there. You can pull it out. Boom, you got you an instant.
They're like challenge coins.
Exactamundo.
You guys need to get yourself some of those that have like built-in bottle openers.
Ooh.
Oh. I haven't seen those.
Not to get into another weird controversial topic, but I spent a lot of time on Maryland Shooters forums, and they actually have those. A guy sent a couple to me. They're like, beer bottle openers that are built into challenge coins.
Really? I've seen that. I think I've seen that.
Huh.
Definitely convenient.
Drinking Caveman again. Do you know Drinking Caveman?
Yeah, we're actually doing we do a small podcast together.
Okay, good.
On Tuesdays.
He says to ask you about bourbons. Because and that's funny because we had talked about a couple of bourbons to do firsthand, and then I just saw one of your posts, something about the Macallan number 1, 2, and 3, so we decided to switch to those.
We can talk about some bourbons too. He just knows. I've just had some bad luck with MGP lately. They've really turned me off. To
really
all kinds of things. Yeah, like so the new Magnus that you see everybody buying up in DC. Apparently it's just recently bottled. It was distilled in Indiana, aged in Kentucky, and bottled in DC. Everybody's screaming about the cigar malt version, which I'm sure is fine, but the regular version, $100 a bottle, did like garbage.
Huh.
Like, to be polite.
Well, no, I'll tell you, I like it. We've had it, and I liked it.
We had it.
I know pallets are pallets. Yeah.
Yeah, but it depends on which batch too. Like I had batch 4. And who knows what batch you had and what mix of barrels it was.
We don't have it here, do we? It's at my house.
Now, are you talking about the one with the new label on it?
The gray label?
I've seen there's one that's going out. It's more like a white label. And it just seems like it's in the DC area, maybe, or something like that.
It's right off Florida. I've actually seen the distillery driving by it.
Huh.
But no, the Joseph Magnus, I like. Now,
Joseph Magnus.
Yeah, $99 is steep, but
for MGP, it's super steep.
Yeah, the wine casking influence though on it, and I pointed out when we did our review on it. Bourbon is so strong. The flavor profile of a bourbon is so strong.
Usually overpowers.
We've had some with a port, or a sherry influence, and it's hard to discern from the bourbon. Mm. But that Joseph Magnus, to me, brought those 3 different casks that had been in. I thought really influenced the bourbon and was showing the notes.
Wow.
First of all,
I really do think I got a bad batch. I really do.
I got the 12 in here, and I'm loving this glass.
Yeah.
At first, I feel fancy.
It's
and it's very similar. We've been using the Riedel
the Cognac glasses.
How are those?
I like it. Bart likes it. We've actually used it in a few reviews now.
It's got a real nice marriage to your lip. That's kind of interesting. So it
as opposed to
kind of tulips out a little bit, and it almost like hugs your lip as you sip.
That sounds awesome, actually.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it's really. It's funny. I started. My wife even noticed because usually I'm always using a Glencairn, and I was walking around with the Riedel Cognac glass, and she's like, "Oh, that's neat. It's fancy." I'm like, "Mm-hmm." And it feels very delicate. I'm always holding it kind of like this.
I'll tell you I said Copita. How did you pronounce it?
Copita. That's I've always.
I'm sure you're correct.
The Copita seems a little bit more solid than the Cognac, than the Riedel Cognac glass.
I mean, for sure. It's not going to seem as solid as a Glencairn. I mean, that giant crystal base is just ridiculous.
Yeah. Right.
But if I'm sitting around drinking, majority of the time I use a tumbler or a rocks glass. That's my favorite.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't.
No, for me, it's got to be rum if I'm going to get a tumbler.
Really?
Yeah. It's got to be something that I'm not worried about the flavors. I just want to relax.
Right there, if I'm sitting around drinking most of the time at night, it's just out of a rocks glass.
Really? How are you capturing your notes?
Well, if I'm taking notes, I'll use a Glencairn. If I'm just sitting around,
so if you're drinking just for pleasure,
yeah.
Really? Okay. Because see, I'll sit here and nose almost as much as I'll sip, even if I'm drinking for pleasure.
Yeah, if I have a Glencairn glass in my hand, automatically, even if I tell myself don't nose it, I'll nose it. I'll just find myself doing it.
Yeah, I'll just be sitting there watching, Broncos, and I'm still nosing all at the same time.
Muscle memory.
Yeah. My boy's looking at me like, "What are you doing, Dad?" And I'm like, "Be quiet, son. Give me another bottle." He's 10.
That's the whiskey.
Yeah. Refresh me, son. That's all jokes. That's just humor.
Now, Basement Drammer is asking what the podcast name is. You're probably under Scotch and Sniff, I'm sure. Where does he find your podcast?
Actually, the one I'm doing with Drinking Caveman is called Whisky Untitled. Ooh. So we just started that on Instagram, and I think it has its own channel now. You actually have to ask Charles about that because he's pretty much running that. I have so many other things going on. I told him, I was like, if we're going to do this, you kind of just have to run with this.
That's what Bart does to me.
I have no idea what he's talking about.
Sometimes you just have to, if you have 10,000 other things going on, you have a job and a small business and, 4,700 hobbies, this stuff adds up.
Right.
Bart will say something. He mentions it 100 times. And then I finally just take it. He's like, we should do this. We need to do this.
I am the idea conceptualizer.
Yeah.
He's the closer.
We've compared. He's Steve Jobs.
Always be closing.
He's Steve Jobs. I'm Wozniak.
You're Woz. We just call you Woz.
He comes up with the ideas and makes me do them.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
That's it.
I mean, it didn't turn out well for Steve, but
well, it was turning out great until he went holistic.
Yeah.
No, I feel bad.
That's a whole different issue.
Yeah.
I talked to a lot of friends about that. It's I don't know.
I know.
I mean, it's 2017. We have modern medicine. And I get it. Everybody, you always have a choice. You can do whatever you want. I totally am all about individual freedom. But at the same time, if you have better odds because of better technology, why not take it? I don't know. Yeah. I still think a lot of things would be better if he was here.
Yeah, that. But I don't know. We subscribe to nothing's guaranteed, so it's over when it's over.
Yeah.
And that's why I just bought another bottle of Sniff Phoenix.
There you go. Yep.
Oh.
Ooh, excuse me. You'll live today. That's the key.
I'm a firm believer that the day you're born, the day is set when you're going to die. The day you die is set. The day you're born.
See, and
it doesn't matter how you live.
See, and I've never subscribed to that.
That's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough because now we're getting philosophical. The problem with that is, if you subscribe to the idea of predetermination, then you have to say that it doesn't matter which decisions you make, you're going to make the decisions you were going to make anyways. But that's like stripping away free will from humans. And again, we're getting like way too deep into these waters.
Oh, I love it. That's where we'll go. He and I will go there on occasion. Every once in a while, I'll stun him with a thought, and then he'll stun me right back.
Well,
I'm guessing it depends on how much whiskey you've had.
That too.
The thing is, we've all seen a 45-year-old that eats good. He goes out for his daily jog, comes home, sits down in the lazy boy.
Aneurysm.
Right. Has an aneurysm, has a heart attack, and
meanwhile, the neighbor's like
the neighbor
500 pounds, smokes cigars, and drinks Natty Light, and he's good till 95.
Yeah, and he's on oxygen, and
he's smoking while on oxygen, using his challenge coin to pop the next Natty Light.
You guys have Natty Buzz?
Yeah,
it's not just a Baltimore thing.
No.
Oh man.
Yeah. And that guy wants to go. He's like, I just want to die. I just want to die. It won't happen.
Hold on, Mark Adams. Mark Adams asked a question, and I'm just going to say yes.
Oh,
Mark Adams asked a question, and I'm just going to say yes.
Must be about me. Yep. See, he won't read it because
he's
I would tone in. I would chime.
I'm so curious.
Mark Adams says Steve Jobs was a brilliant prick. How about Bart?
Oh no. Oh. I don't think I'm a pea.
You gotta be careful with these comparisons.
Yeah, I know. But the problem is I'm loving the brilliant portion, and then I wanted to just like fade away.
You're brilliant with a better personality.
Yeah, I'll say I'm half of both. How's that? Whatever that does. So you got
Steve Wozniak?
Yeah, the Woz.
Well, it's coming up.
Yep.
We haven't brought it up yet.
Bring it. Bring it up. What are you talking about? Oh, the bottle of wow.
The bottle of fire.
Have you had that one?
So the first time I had Elijah Craig, I have like 4 bottles of it at home, but oddly enough, mostly for trading. The first time I had some, I was at a whiskey library tasting, and Tim and Brian over there were like hosting this thing in this like basement of a Mexican restaurant. And this old guy sitting next to me, he comes in late, so he has no idea what it is that he's just been served. And he sits down, and everybody is sipping very slowly, especially the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, because that is literally like self-immolation. And I watched this guy take this just like giant swig, and this old guy started coughing. I thought he was gonna die. I was like, I'm gonna watch this man next to me literally die here in this basement. And like he's just coughing and coughing, a solid 10 minutes. I'm like, he's gonna die soon. But yeah, no, Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. I don't know the people who are like, I just drink this straight and down. No, you'll die. Like you need it. I remember sitting there, and I've done it to this day. Like if you add 50% water, it doesn't matter. It's still like 90% alcohol then.
It's still delicious. I know. And the thing
I will sip it neat, but I sip it very.
It's such a small. Yeah, exactly.
Small bit. Even in our review, we had just a drop or two of water. We have people comment just astounded and offended that we would add water to that delicious whiskey.
There's no offense there. I tell people all the time, like that whiskey is like literally like 3 to 4 drops at a time is all you need, because the amount of flavor, it's like somebody took all the flavor and got it near a black hole, packed it into like a tiny little set of particles, and was like, try this.
Yeah. Bottle of wow, bottle boom.
The bottle of fire.
Yeah. It brings some good flavor.
Made by a preacher too. That's crazy.
But no, the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof to me is still probably the best bourbon on the market that you can find.
Really?
When it comes out, when it comes out, you got to be looking. You can find it on the shelf.
It's still reasonable.
It's a palate thing though. Like,
still reasonable, but it's still the best bang for the buck.
We dig
it. Best, yeah.
It's a palate thing.
Now I'll tell you, Well, we did a bourbon. We did a 16.
go.
We did a 16 bottle blind bourbon shootout, and we learned that price doesn't matter.
True.
I mean,
It never does.
we stuck, under 50% bourbons, and we found out that $20 to $30 bottles bested higher end bottles.
Without a doubt, no. Assuming money's not a thing at all, like that's never the problem. Money, like there's a law of diminishing returns really quickly with money when it comes to this stuff. Like anything over $100, I get really, really suspicious of, because I mean, at the $100 mark, you can buy things from, Macallan that costs $100 that you're getting that's 15 years old, and from other distilleries that you're already in the 18 to 20 year range. Like if that's all it costs them to get through the whole process, including the 80% taxes that are in Scotland, plus all the time that they've been holding onto these barrels, there's no way you're going to tell me that, a $200 bottle is going to be that much better. It's literally impossible. But like with certain bourbons, Elijah Craig, to me, it's good in those very, very small amounts. But from my own palate, I hate to say it, things like Larceny, which is only $30 for a bottle, just, smooth and flavorous. Is it number 2 in the shootout?
$22 here a bottle.
Yeah.
Are you kidding?
No.
It's so hard to find here. I had to go to Virginia half the time.
Well, it's Bart's bottle. I said, hey, bring that over
so
tonight just
good.
in case we get to it. But yeah, we just reviewed it not too long ago.
We couldn't find it for a while, and we got
It's
a
so
whiskey
good.
scout that finds stuff for us. And I said, yeah, get it. And then we had it for a couple months, and all of a sudden our local liquor store had like 10 cases, and they were like, fire sale. And we were like, what?
$22.
Yeah.
I grabbed like 5 bottles and be out of there.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure they still got it over there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, even in our blind bottle shootout, Elijah Craig, just the standard Elijah Craig, the 46, 47, it's 94.
Right.
47% Elijah Craig. Maker's Mark did real well.
Yeah.
You're
trying not to ruin it in case
Creek.
somebody wants to watch.
Right.
Wait, which makers? 46?
The standard Maker's
Standard
Mark.
Makers.
The $24 bottle.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah, because
in a blind
I
shootout?
preferred, before that, when we did a Makers family shootout, I preferred the cast strength Makers over the 46 and the standard Makers. And we didn't have those in the blind shootout, but it came up. It was just a smooth, light dram that really, really stood up.
Recently I got a private barrel 12-year Knob Creek that was just like mind blowing. I was like, this is how it should normally taste, because the regular stuff, Makers too. That's the same kind of thing. There's people who are doing these private barrels that some of them are just coming up to, and turning out way better than the average. I don't want to say swill, but the average stuff they're putting out.
Sure.
Would Larceny be your favorite, or what's your favorite bourbon then you've had so far?
It's up there. You mean in terms of like what I would pay a stupid amount of money for to have?
Just overall taste palette wise, you get one bourbon, go boom. What is it?
I can't. It's just like Scotch. I just can't do it. It's like no, because okay. So if I'm in the mood for a complete vanilla bomb, a little bit of tobacco, and like I want it to taste like nothing else, like I will crack that bottle of Pappy 23. There's nothing like it. I won't add water to it because it ruins it, which I think is why a lot of people are like, it's over oaked. But I'm like, did you put it on ice? Because ice literally ruins it. But the 15.
I'm going to interject there. Hopefully nobody would put a Pappy 23 on ice.
That's the same thing that Charles said, drinking caveman. But like I've seen people do this, and I don't get it. I tried the 25 recently at a bar here who's got it for like $200 a pour. Not that good. It's different, and it has more of these like vegetal rye notes. And some guy like literally on Bourbon R, like sometimes I surf their forums, Bourbon R, this guy was like, what do you mean it has rye spices? Like use a different descriptor. I'm like, that's what it tastes like. I don't know what you want me to say. He's like, it's a wheater. I'm like, it's still made with rye on the mash bill. Like that can be a prevalent flavor. I was like, this guy's crazy. They don't put chocolate in some of these bottles, but they taste like chocolate. Like explain that.
Exactly.
That's how palates work. But I've got the PBW 15 and I paid $150 for it. And I tell you, I overpaid for that, and people are selling that for $1,000 a bottle. But bourbon is just like Scotch. Some bourbons are just like Scotch where, whatever you're in the mood for, you can find it. Generally.
Right. I'm with you.
Yeah. So.
You know, we had the Pappy Van Winkle, or not the Pappy, the Van Winkle 12 Lot
Yes.
B was in our shootout. Our bottle is from 2 years ago, and it's good. It's a good weeder. It did okay in the shootout. Last year, our store held a bottle for me for $169, and I turned it down because I'm like, it's a 12-year bourbon, and it's good. But $169, I can buy a lot of other stuff, and you got a lot of other people that are willing to pay $169 for that 12-year-old bourbon. So yeah, go ahead.
It totally makes sense.
Now I would still love to try it, the 20 and the 23-year-old though, but I wouldn't pay the aftermarket prices for them.
Yeah, you just ask people for samples.
There you go.
So when you crack that 23, send us a sample.
This is the second bottle, so
nice.
If I crack it, I definitely will.
Now, is that because of your connections? I mean, you're getting it at a good price.
Yeah. I mean, $1,000. I'd consider $1,000 a good price for it, but that's my max out. I told the store, it's a store in DC. I was like flat out, I was like, look, I paid $800 for the first one and $1,000 for this one, but this is max price for me. Like, to me, it's worth $1,000, and then after that, it's not worth it.
Well, that's good. That's good though, because they could sell that bottle for $2,500.
Oh, there's stores in DC that have it sitting on the shelf for $4,000, and eventually some dummy will be like, oh, I got to get it.
Really?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Wow.
Yeah, not my thing. But I mean, I just picked up 2 Snow Phoenixes for just under $1,000. And those bottles haven't been made since 2010, and they're rare. I picked up 2 Glenfiddich 30s recently for like $1,100. They were just dusties.
Wow.
So yeah, there's a lot of stuff out there for decent prices. You just gotta look. You just gotta find it.
Interesting. What else is coming in here, Scott? What else you got rolling in?
We've gone so far from everywhere.
I know. I love that.
Isn't this Macallan tasting?
This is what we do, brother. The rabbit trails are phenomenal. They usually have their own conversation. I saw it stall out for a bit. For a while there, it was just kicking.
Well, and I got a message from Whiskey in the Six. His video isn't working.
Oh.
And Basement Drammer's been having some problems as well, but I think it's
saying that on our side they're not.
No one else has been commenting. I think it's just sporadic, or it's spotted.
All right,
somewhere. I think we're all right
because you're not seeing.
Usually we get comments come in once we start lagging.
Everything looks good. I don't see any lag on our side. All right. Any other side? I saw some more stuff coming in.
You poured Macallan 12. You was going to say something a little bit ago.
Love it. I would go to the Macallan 12. Well, I just love the standard Macallan 12. It's really, really good.
We did our top 5 12-year-old single malt scotches, and this is my number 1.
Yeah, I think it was
what else was on the bill?
Yeah, what else do we have in there? I don't even remember now.
Gotta have to pull up my list.
I know, we'd have to pull. We've done too many videos. I think it was my.
Look at that empty bottle.
Yes, I know. It's almost down. Look at that. Slay it.
God, that's a good.
We don't even know. Yeah, that's right. I don't remember either.
I remember Highland Park was honorable mention for me.
I'm glad you got it back out.
Edrington.
It's all right. See,
Glendronach 12.
Glendronach 12 is solid.
Glengoyne 12.
Not one I've had.
The Macallan 12, of course, look, all sherry based.
Right.
Yep.
God, that just smells delicious.
I can't recall off the top of my head. You put me on the spot.
You did good. You want to pour that, or did you just
Royal
get it out for
Brockla.
me? Royal Brockla was in there.
Those are all so distinct.
Yes.
Like if you've had them all and you know them by palate, it's hard to have blind tasting sometimes, unless you have somebody who's just like totally mixing something up, or you're in a different environment than you're normally tasting. Because if you know those smells, like there's so many. Like if you sat down a bunch of Macallans in front of me and you were like, which one's the 12? Which one's the 18? Which one's the cast strength? Like I would roll through those. I'd be like, no, this is this. This is this. Wow. Like they're so distinct.
No, you poured some. Let me just have a little
bit of that
shot.
There you go.
That's what makes some of these whiskeys great, though. I find, when you've got 250 open bottles at home, and a lot of people are like, how do you make decisions on what you're going to drink? For me, it really does come down to, is it a memorable bottle or is it not memorable? Because at some point you're like, yeah, that was good, but this is just okay. And then some bottles just like stab you in the head. You're like, oh my gosh, I need to remember this forever.
Right. That's what I love. And that's where when you hit that taste, when you hit that new bottle and it just explodes and you're like, oh wow. And that's what I've noticed at our level where we're at is all good stuff. And it's still good. The quality whiskey out there is phenomenal. But when I hit something that really hits my sweet spot, that's the joy that comes now.
Yeah, and sometimes it's expensive. Like the Macallan tasting, to take it back to Macallan, the Macallan tasting at that they had at Casa de Luca, it was, I mean, trying the rare cask I have, Reflection I have, I bought that as a Christmas thing, but trying the number 6, my mind was just blown. The balance of dried fruit and sherry was on some other level. I remember sitting there, the first word out of, like, there was another blogger who was there who was just like, mother, like, and I mean, we're all laughing, but something about how they got all of it to balance. It was perfection. It reset my scale for whiskey. I was like, this is nuts. And then, the M following up with that, that's supposed to be the bottle that everybody's like, oh my gosh, you got a DM. I was like, it was okay. And there was this huge speech like this. Some of this stuff goes back to the 1940s cast, and this is history in a bottle, and oh my gosh, this and that. And like, there are these extravagant, I almost said stories, but I want to say marketing, but there's these extravagant stories that go with these bottles. And then, you try it and you're like, lackluster. Like the Balvenie 50. The first words that so we had the Balvenie 50 Cast 191 at a tasting here. And the first word somebody said after we all had taken that sip was, well, it doesn't suck.
Wow. Wow.
You're like, this bottle, when you find it cheaply, is $30,000. And it's usually 50. And those are the first words. Well, it doesn't suck. And the malt master David Stewart was there.
Wow.
It was crazy. It was such a crazy night.
Now, I'll tell you, I have found the more Oloroso sherry influence that it is where I go. And I think that's why the Macallan 12 does it for me, because it's 12 years. And same with the Glendronach 15. That exclusive maturation in an Oloroso sherry cask, I love it.
As long as it's not like 4th fill. Yes, I'll agree with you. Or 3rd fill. Some of those, they turn into like this weird, like red rubber eraser flavor that gets super weird. Like super, super weird. And you're just like, no, I'm pouring this out. But I've only seen that happen a couple of times. There's a local distillery here that I'm like not friends with anymore because of a few reviews. But it was giving them honesty because they were using like 3rd fill sherry casks, and just the flavors that are coming out of it were just so off-putting. I was like, no, dude, I wouldn't drink this.
That's good. Yeah. Yeah, they need to keep you a friend when you're giving them that advice, actually.
We've been asked what's the weirdest whiskey we've drank. And I would say for me, the Santos. I think it was Santos, the Swedish peated whiskey.
Yeah, you didn't. Your description of that was the best.
So
he said it was like Gouda cheese wrapped in plastic, thrown in a mesquite wood fire.
Yeah.
Smoked Gouda sounds amazing.
Well, yeah, the smoked Gouda
not the
part
plastic though.
Yeah.
It had a little bit of that Gouda, but with the plastic burning.
Like somebody bought a bag of Gouda and just threw it in a fire.
That is right, without unwrapping the plastic.
Yeah, with like a Captain America action figure holding it, and a rubber tire.
It has to be a Captain America.
Oh man,
what do you got? What's the weirdest whiskey?
Oh,
What's
my
been
God,
your
I don't
least
know.
favorable palate pleaser?
What was the Balvenie that caught me off guard that I was just quiet and you knew I wasn't? It wasn't bad, but it was too tart.
That was the 15-year sherry.
Yes,
sherry
it was
barrel.
too tart for me, and I expected something different.
Oh, it was drying like tannic.
It was really had a really bitter. It just had a really bitter finish.
It was a bitterness to it that just kind of stunned my palate a little bit. Because you literally go to me. You still liked it. I did not. But
I love the nose and the palate. Yeah. And then the finish came in and kind of.
Yeah. But the nose, I expected something totally different. And Balvenies are great. I love all the Balvenies. And so I had this one and I didn't look at me. I usually have something to say. Yes. Right.
Something. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was just like nothing. And I was like, well, and I couldn't puzzle it out. And so right off the bat, you were like, usually you have something to say. I'm like, I'm not enjoying this as much. And it was one of the first, I've had stuff that, well, what I prefer is something that under promise, over perform. I've come in, the ones that surprise me is, well, I can't think, but something I come into that I'm thinking, I'm probably not going to get. And then I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yep.
And that one was the reverse. And so it wasn't bad. It wasn't even odd. It was just the one that surprised me the most.
That sounds like one that would be good for a blind taste testing, only because that way you don't have an expectation with it.
That is true. That is a good point.
Wally, what do you think? What's the weirdest whiskey you've had?
So this whole time I'm sitting here trying to think like, oh man, but it would have to be on the same lines with trying something that you think is going to be one way and it's not. But I had first had the Bren, which is like Allison Park. I don't know if you follow her on Instagram. She's awesome.
Yeah.
Meeting her in person, she's hilarious. But her selling the regular Bren Classic, it tastes like bubble gum. It smells like that on the nose, and that's what it tastes like. But going out and buying the 10 and then trying that, the vegetal notes that are in there, like eating grass, like eating, like literally like going into a garden and just like smelling all of that stuff in the earth and then tasting it, I was like, this is weird. And I've gotten used to it because I've found it in like American Ryes. A lot of times they'll have some of those vegetal notes too, where you're almost like eating grass, and like that, the smell of like fresh clipped weeds while you're like mowing the yard, that weird, like, I don't know, the earthy, grassy flavors. So getting that in the Bren 10 is the first time I ever had that. And then since then, I mean, Sagamore Rye, which is here in Baltimore that Kevin Plank is like doing over there, like the same thing, like the Sagamore Rye. As soon as I cracked it open, I was like, I need to do a comparison between this and the Bren 10 because they both taste like somebody was out mowing the lawn, collected all the grass clippings, and then threw them in a bottle. It's so weird though because one's aged in France and the other one's aged in Indiana. So I'd say those are the weirdest.
Good, that's good. You got something that popped in there.
Scotchology is in here watching, and we did the Bren with them. The Casks Estate.
Oh, the classic?
Yeah, and he asked if we remembered that. And yeah, I remember as soon as you started talking about the bubble gum.
Yeah, it's hard to forget.
Yeah, cotton candy, just a sweet
Yep.
candy bubble gum description. I definitely remember it.
Cotton candy and that type of sugar, I think of hedonism every time. Like, it's got that distinct, like, that delicious sugar flavor. I mean, I'm assuming it's up there on that shelf, but
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The first time I had that, I was like, if this is what single grain tastes like, you buy that and then you buy Hague Club, and then you're like, this is literal garbage. Like Hague Club, I don't know who was like, I got it. We'll get a famous soccer player to back this, and it'd be great. You taste it, and you're like, well, this is going in the trash can.
Yeah.
Grab that wooden box up there, Bart. This one, this is an older Compass box hedonism, the Maximus.
Okay, I've had the Quindecimus.
Uh-huh.
And it was just like a slightly more powerful version of the regular hedonism.
I think this one's from 2007.
Does this mean you're going to open it?
No. This one was like 30.
He's just showing it off.
30 and 40-year-old grain whiskeys.
Now, see, this should be illegal right here. If you're going to show it, you need to consume it.
And I think there was only like 1,200 bottles of this.
That's only a Scotch and Sniff rule. They drink everything.
Yeah. No, I'm with your rule. Collect nothing.
Oh, well, we'll get open someday.
Someday.
How's that?
Single Malt Alliance did that big post about, other bloggers that he likes to follow on Instagram. And when he got to Scotch and Sniff, he was like, yeah, because they drink all of their whiskey.
Boom.
Like when I bought that Reflection, I was like, when am I going to open it? I bought it at Christmas time, opened it. I literally boxed it to myself for Christmas, opened it for Christmas, and was like, I can't wait to drink this on my birthday. So like we get to August, 8 months later, and I'm finally like cracking it open.
Ooh.
No, I understand that sometimes it's a special occasion thing. I get that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
This year was the Snow Phoenix and the Glenfiddich 30 for the birthday. So
wow.
Now the Snow Phoenix, that's a Glenfiddich.
Glenfiddich. Yep. It was released in 2010. They did it one time. They'll never do it again. It was when the distilleries. It's kind of like the Tornado Survivor from E.H. Taylor.
Right.
So like snow caved in a couple of dunnages, and because of that, just like the whiskeys anywhere from 10 to 30 years old, they just threw them together, and here we are.
Oh,
so
now, and have you had it?
Yeah. No, I have one bottle, and I have somebody in Philadelphia holding a second bottle for me. So,
yep. I mean, you've tasted it.
Yeah. No, at my birthday. So here's what happened. I invited brand ambassador from Glenfiddich, Tracy. She's like the East Coast brand ambassador.
Tracy
I invited
Franklin?
her. Yeah, I invited her to come to my birthday. So she was like, yeah, sure. So so she came, and like as a birthday gift, she brought another bottle of Snow Phoenix. I didn't open mine.
Ooh,
Nice. Wonderful.
So we cracked open that like Canadian bottle she brought, and yeah, that was that.
Beautiful.
So I still went to go pick up another one because I need to open mine so that I can, take pictures.
Cool. What else coming in, Bruno?
Well,
Any
no, I
questions?
think let's it's
Ready to
10,
wrap it?
well, it's
We are
10:15. Well, we're just about at the hour mark because
Yes.
we were a little late getting
That's
started,
true.
but
That's true. What time?
we both have to work.
Right. Wow, it's 10.
Work early
It's
in the morning.
11:16, and I've got to be at work at like 6:30.
Got it. Yes.
So
Us too.
let's wrap it up and go ahead then, Sniff. Tell
Okay.
everybody about yourself, where to find you, your channel, your Instagram, your blog.
It's at Scotch and Sniff everywhere. So scotchandsniff.com, at Scotch and Sniff on Instagram, at Scotch and Sniff on Twitter, but I kind of just go by the alerts and the emails. But Instagram and by email, like on the blog, are like the quickest ways to reach Scotch and Sniff, as it were.
Now, hey, real quick though, I was going to ask you earlier, and I got off subject, but you do you haven't been on YouTube for that long.
Oh, yeah, youtube.com/Scotch and Sniff. Like, there's only, so the videos have split now. There's the regular Scotch and Sniff videos, which I'm going to be recording some more in a couple of weeks. And then there are the 1 minute whiskey videos, which I've started as like a kind of a side project that I want to do to like help people who are shopping and they want to get like a quick 1 minute or less review to like pick up bottles and figure out what it is they want. So like that 1 minute whiskeys and Scotch and Sniff are all going to fall under the same Scotch and Sniff umbrella. So yeah, but youtube.com/Scotch and Sniff, and it'll take you there.
Good.
Perfect.
Well, thank you for joining us. I know it was kind of last minute for a rush job for you coming in after traveling and getting hooked up and going, but
thanks.
Yeah, it worked out. Thank you.
all right.
Perfect.
I don't have anything to.
I know we're all dry.
Yep. Hold on just a second.
What are you going to do? You're going to pour a little, Mac
Macallan
12.
12
There you
to,
go. Put
sign
just a
off
little
with.
bit in here because you're going to pour this and we're going to scotch it, you Scotch guys.
Cilantro.
Cilantro.
Dummies.
Cilantro.